Hi, Thomas. Good evening. How are you today?
I'm great. Sitting in my attic sauna here in Germany. We have up to 40 degrees today, and waiting for the clearing thunderstorm tonight.
And welcome to my world because this is what we experience every day in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah,
So I'm not, I don't have problem with UK and Germany going through the similar situation. But anyway, so things
yeah.
that Dallas is ready for this environment. But as you said, you don't have air condition at home, and we have a very good air condition uh, helping us.
um, Maybe the need arises to buy one, or maybe I go down to the cellar. It's even colder,
Exactly.
cooler in the cellar.
Exactly. So, Thomas, welcome back for another session. I know we have been talking, and this series is also helping us to grow, and I'm sure people are also learning and growing. So, once again, thank you for giving your time, precious time, to come up with this knowledge bank. With most of the people, late are going to help, going to find them useful and useful. Of course, these are materially useful. Yeah. Anything before we get start talking about this new topic we have?
Well, yeah, Dharam, I want to thank you for driving these kind of conversations and putting them on YouTube so everybody can listen to some thoughts. At least both of us, we are here for some years in this environment, and we can share some experience and some views on the world, which might be interesting and helpful for people listening.
Yeah.
And before we start, to the people who are listening, feel free to contact us and go through LinkedIn or else or YouTube and contact us and ask questions and get into the conversation. And without looking at new perspectives, looking at new ideas, you will not become a better person, actually.
Exactly. So, Thomas, I think you're excited about this topic, and a lot of people are going to be excited because now we will talk about exciting future of the project management.
Yeah. And as we discussed, it's really tough to be excited if you are in a sauna like this, But I'm trying my very best to share my excitement, And I've started in this project management business with the decision to become a full-blown project manager, do nothing else as project management, and this was in the year 1988. And it was exciting for me because I knew nobody else who has done this at this time. But now there are many. We have, as to a survey by PMI, we have about 66 million project managers in the world, which is still only a small drop, considering that we are this year closing the 8 billion people, and only
Yeah.
66 million, or let's be 70 million project managers. And from these 66 or 70 million, only about 10%, so maybe 6, 7, 8 million are people who consider themselves to be a full-blown project manager, doing nothing else as project management. Many of
Exactly.
these 66 millions are, let's say, in construction business. They are an architect, and yes, they are project managing a building or a new site, but they also know very much about the subject matter expertise.
Yeah. Yeah.
While people like me, I think, they would take on any task. So I never had a bridge built, but if you would ask me build a bridge, we need it, and you can convince me that that I should do that at my age, and then yes, I would do it. I would tackle the task, because one of the most important things I learned is don't do all the stuff yourself, but find the
Yeah.
best people to do it.
Delegate. So, Thomas, yes, I think when we were, I mean, you started project management earlier than me, and when I started, most of the people got into project management by accident, by because somebody wants you to run a project, then they have no one good person who can lead the project. They ask you to, you're good in technical, and they assume that you're going to be a good project manager. And I mean, for me, it happened like this. I was very good system engineer. I got reward of system engineer of the year in 99. Then very soon I was made technical team leader, and 6 months time I was a project manager. And believe it or not, I have no idea about project management. I just thought project management is simply, Gantt chart, and you have a task identified, the resource allocated, and do some risk management, and pretty much like that. But project management is very, very vast. It's not just a Gantt chart. That's not about resource management only. Many, many things we have to think about. So,
yes,
learning from the expert, or learning from these organizations like PMI or AIPM is something anybody should be looking into. Not just if you just look your manager or their seniors, learn from them, you will learn something. Some good practices, some not good practices as well, which is not a helpful thing. You may survive, but we need to see the better way or best practices available in the project management work.
yes, yes. And I agree with what you said. Most of us have been getting into project management by accident. You were a very good subject matter expert for something, for a technical area. Same happened for me. I was working for 13 years in IT as a systems engineer, as a software developer. So I had this smell of doing real work, and I think it's still valuable. So if you get from school and you learn about project management, have 1 or 2 certifications, I don't think you will make it in the project management field, because you need that kind of street intelligence, how to do things, and not being let's say neglected by the good subject matter experts. It always happens if you get into an area and there are great architects and technical guys and everything, and then you come in and they smell that you don't know nothing about the area, and they are right. So it's not your task to be better than them in their area. You will never achieve that. But it's your task to support them to do an even better job, because all of them, they are doing a great job, but they have some roadblocks somewhere, where they don't get ahead, and they need approvals, or they are bothered by Q&A or whatever, what they have. And if you find out what bothers them and you help them remove that roadblocks, you are the king, And actually, that's a good example of servant leadership that we all should strive for, and then we can be successful.
Exactly. And I think my understanding about project management, or my view of project management, is like you are organizing a musical concert where you have hundreds of people playing different musical instruments. And so they are kind of your developer, tester, and various people who are doing various things. So as a project manager, or you can say as a conductor who's standing in front of these musicians, the conductor may not know everything. He may not know how to play piano or violin or this and that, but he or she understand how to control this whole environment, how to get the best out of all the resources available with me. And you can see the holistic picture, and you will be demonstrating, you will be talking to your stakeholders, executive, to show how this project is performing overall. That's the role of a project manager, to ensure that the music coming out of the output coming out from these people, all the developers and everybody, is in line with your expectation, in line with the objective of the project, in line with the benefit expected.
Yeah. Well, we even use some terms from the orchestra, in project management, when we install a drum beat for, that we have a daily stand-up. That's a drum beat. We force the team to follow a rhythm, and that's important, to have a rhythm. That every morning you get a coffee, and you have to stand around 15 minutes with the others and tell what's bothering you, and listen to others what's bothering them, and then you come up with ideas to help them. And that's the whole purpose of the daily stand-up. And we have a
Yeah.
lot of these kind of rights, we install. And if you are project manager, it's your task to install this kind of culture. How do we behave? What is important to us? What rights? What mascots? What signs? What songs do we have in that team that make sure that we feel as one team and with one purpose and together and supporting each other? That's
Yeah.
a project manager always is a big influencer. It has to be. So you're influencing your customer who wants something. You negotiate with them. Do they really want this or that, or what is more important? You're influencing them to your.
Exactly.
What can you do? You're influencing your boss because he might want to give you some additional requirements, and you influence him. Stay away, out of my way. Let me do
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
But if I want something, you have to give it to me. You're influencing your team, and that's the most important task: influencing your team, because the most important thing you influence them is to develop trust in each other. So that's an influencing thing: how to develop trust in others to others, and then you build a team.
Exactly. So that's where learning from others can also help. Learning from standards can also help. Nowadays PMI, as you know, they have released the PMBOK 7th edition, which is much more advanced than what you and me started with. I think you did PMP based on first edition. I did based on second edition. PMI has evolved a lot in the
Yeah,
PMBOK, and previously they were talking more about process and tools and techniques. Now they're not just talking about processes; they're talking about principles and the structure and the governance, stakeholder engagement,
yeah,
and all these things that they shifted themselves. And hence, as the project manager, we need to, yes, not just staying behind the processes. Don't just talk about the tools and techniques. It is the person who can make it happen is you, utilizing these as an enabler, as a process, tools and techniques. So all these are the enabler, but you are the one who can make the difference in the whole process as the leader
yeah,
of the project.
yeah. And it's good that PMI put down the principles, and maybe the principles change and develop over time. Because the old standards didn't look so much at principles, but the principles are not new. The principles
Mm,
were there before. As I said, for instance, the most important thing is to team building, to instill trust in the people. That's the principle, which is now seen in the PMBOK guide in different words. But basically, that's one of the basic things. And so there always have been principles of project management, and now they are put down in a standard, and you can learn it from there if you read it, and then you can develop these principles. Understanding principle per se is nothing. You have to understand it and apply it to the situation you are in. Always this is the transfer business. You know where to go, and you know where you are, and now move from here to there by applying these principles, and that the art of project management, and has always been.
exactly. So this is what we have learned, from traditional project management, and now we moving into the new world based on a lot of artificial intelligence happening in the project management and agile transformation. We're talking digital transformation or IoT, and there are many organizations using drones and many other automation happening. And you name it, a lot of things are happening in the project management space. That is why I'm very excited that this space of project management is very, very exciting area. And if somebody
Yeah,
is still thinking, should I be into project management, or should I teach my student, my boy or girl as a project manager? I think this is the best place, because as you mentioned earlier, around 70, 80 million project managers at the moment, maybe, and it's going to be, in the next 10 years, it's going to grow double or triple. Who knows?
yeah,
And every industry, everything, whatever we're doing needs talented, smart project managers, not just somebody who can organize things or just moving the, Gantt chart. We need people who can think strategically, who can make the difference in the organization, lead the team, and make the things happen.
Yeah. Well, talking about technological development, as you said, AI and IoT and what we have, one of the principles I had was that I am an early adopter of technology, and I had the luck to be working for IBM, which supported this principle. So now everybody is zooming, and chatting. We did that in the year 2000. This was 22 years ago, and we had something called Same Time, which was like a chat service, and we had video services and everything. Well, the network was not so great, but sometimes you could only have voice conference, but you also could do video conference. So we did that already 20 years ago, and that's a principle I think you should follow as a project manager. Be an early adopter about new technology, regardless what it is. So I always had the latest phone. For some years the Android. Now I'm on Apple. I always had the latest PC. I always tried out the latest. I was selling to my client the first cloud in the year 2005. Now people are saying, "Oh, cloud, you have to do cloud." Well, I'm the cloud since 20 years. And it's not rocket science, and it developed new features, new words, new hypes. Yes. But the cloud is there, and the cloud is a thing. As you said, we are somehow connected everywhere, and it's the cloud. I have my data in the cloud somewhere, and yes, it's in America. Maybe the Chinese have access. I don't care much, because I can work in the day-to-day work, in my procedures, in my processes, and I somehow trust in what we have developed as data privacy laws and all this stuff. What can you do? You can trust in the system, or you can try to fight it. And I think you have a better life if you trust in the system.
Yeah, so, and actually that's another exciting part, because we're talking about AWS or data center, not data center, cloud data center. Previously, as a project manager, if you are setting up the, some infrastructure, it was taking 4, 6, 8 months just to implement or install one server. Now, when you need a server, you just have to message via system.
Yeah.
You have a server within the next 5 minutes. These are not available. When I'm saying 5 minutes, maybe half an hour or maybe 1 hour. But you specify, and the system, somebody other side will give you access to the server, and you have server immediately. And you can deploy your application, and things can happen very, very fast. Yes, there are some technological challenges and other things. That's why you need it. You are needed because you are the project manager. You need to do the risk assessment, issue management. You need to have change management. These are the basic things. These are your tools and techniques which you need to learn, so to do your job even better. And thank God we have so many things available from PMI, from AIPM, from various sources. The new technologies available, the standards are available, and there are a lot of material training available. Previously there were limited training. There are only traditional project management, or just one way of doing things. Now we have multiple way of doing things. You can be running projects in agile and getting better and faster results for your client. So I think that's where I'm very strongly in opinion that this is the right time for people to be into the project management.
Well, as I said, we have maybe 66 million, 70 million in our community as project managers, and there are 8 billion people. So there's a big need of this kind of professional support to society, not only to companies, but to governments, to NGOs. We need project managers everywhere. And when I talk to people like, let's say, event managers in PMI chapters, they sometimes don't recognize that they are, in fact, project managers managing such an event. You have to do a lot of project management. It may follow a phase concept,
Yep.
yeah, but and it's not a full-time job, and except maybe the last day. But these people regard themselves as event managers, but no, you are a project manager, and then you can apply what you learn from project management from the PMBOK guide. Maybe you can use something. Be
Yeah.
upfront, be an early adopter of this kind of stuff. Why not? Don't
Yeah.
do it as your predecessor did it, just following the pathway that is tread down since years, but try out something new. Maybe you can improve the whole experience of the people who are attending the event. So that's what I'm saying. And same is true for pharmaceutical project managers, for construction project managers, and then they come to the point that they say, okay, maybe the project management profession has something I can use. And that's why we have 1.3 PMPs in the world, because a lot of people did the PMP, and they promoted word by mouth. They say, okay, I had this experience, and it gave me something. Not
Mm.
only the title, not only maybe a better salary and a better market value, but also it gave me something, some self confidence in what I'm doing as a project manager. That's the main thing that gave it to me when I did the PMP in 1998. I was very proud of it, and I haven't seen anyone not being proud of it, getting out of the exam and being there. The, and don't think because there's a PMI certification, it's hard. Maybe it's maybe not so much costly, but it costs you the effort to go into that and to learn and to be insecure about if you know everything, and you won't know everything. Anyhow, you have to know your
Yeah.
gaps. But then I compare. This is called a certification, and you have to remember, to be able to apply for that certification, you have to evidence 3 years of professional experience working in the field as a project manager. And it could be, as I said, event manager, construction manager, something like that, But 3 years, you cannot be just somebody coming fresh from school and doing the PMP. You have to be some practitioner, even if
Mm.
you haven't been a full-time project manager, which you probably will not have been before having a PMP. But then, if I prepare for the PMP, when I prepared, it took me long weeks, And even now, if I look at my students for the PMP prep, and maybe you can correct me there from your experience, this is much wider, you use about 200, 250 hours to prepare for the PMP, because you have to read the book and do some mock exams and all the stuff. It takes time. Maybe have a boot camp, doing all this. It takes a lot of time. And people in average, I worked with, they said about 200, 250 hours, which translate to 30 full days of preparation and the exam of the PMP. And now compare that to things that are called certifications, but it takes you 2 days, like a Scrum Master.
Mhm.
So it cannot be the same knowledge. It cannot be the same um, uh, depth of indoctrination you experience through so this kind of certification preparation. But now I see you are burning to add on, correct me, and
I
and
know, I know. You're saying 200, 250 hours of preparation. Maybe in your time when lack of books or lack of material. Nowadays, I don't. I mean, if somebody's taking more than 100 hours preparation for PMP or even PgMP or PfMP, I think they are probably not on the right direction. I like to see my students are completing the PMP, PgMP, PfMP, or any other exam in the shortest possible time. So utilizing, of course, books, PMBOK or standard for program portfolio management. Then utilizing some supporting videos and questions and animation, apps based. So that's how people. are getting faster and faster. I'm not just saying for the sake of faster. You learn and you absorb the knowledge and become better project manager, better program manager, better portfolio manager. So yes, the certification, as you mentioned, is one of the important thing as the project manager, program manager, portfolio manager should be doing. One is to demonstrate that you have experience. And as you mentioned, correctly mentioned, PMI expect you to have 3 years of project management experience before you can apply for PMP. And I used to think, why, if I want to become project manager, I should be learning PMBOK and get examined so I can do my job better. Then now, when I'm on the other side, I realize that, you know why 3 years required? Because you have tried by yourself, you understand the project management a little bit. Now, when you learn, look at the, best practices, you can appreciate more. If I give you something fresh, you will not appreciate that much. But if you have tried something, now you can compare. Oh, wow, okay, this is how I was doing versus this is how I'm going to do using the standard or PMBOK. And that's where the 3 years or the project program management, they're expecting at least 4 years experience
Yeah.
is must. Unlike, you go to Prince 2 or you go to agile practices, you don't have any experience. You just sit in the 2 days class, 3 days class, you become a Prince 2 foundation, and then another 2 days, then the practitioner. Yes, you learn from the class, but it's because of the repetition of same thing again, again. Just learn it, do the exam, and we pass the exam. But PgMP, PMP, PfMP, these exams, I will suggest not just to memorize things, understand, use them in day-to-day life, and apply and become better project manager, better program manager, better portfolio manager.
Yeah, and if you correct me in that, when my experiences with students, and it's also in the last 10 years, that they use 200, 250 hours. And you say, my students only use 100 hours. It's a promotion for your kind of doing the classes, because you really prepare them and guide them through the process. So they save then 50% of the efforts to learn for an exam, because you focus them on what is necessary, and you help them to understand quite quickly.
Yeah.
So that's still a good thing.
So that's why most of the that's one reason why most of the organizations or hiring managers, hiring or recruitment people, they're looking for PMP as one of the filter. And I will give you my own example, and I will tell you based on my discussion with my recruitment agent. He put me through a company in Australia called Telstra, and he said, Dharam, I want, can we have a coffee in the morning before you start the job? I said, why not? Great, free coffee. And I was the first, I was the first person for this company for him. So he was very excited, and I was excited. So, and when we have this discussion, he told me, Dharam, you're very lucky you are in this job. He said, for me, another job. But there are 115 applications for this job. Okay, then I said, okay, this must be something interesting. Then I asked him, tell me why and how you selected me for this position. Then he said, okay, you know what? Out of 115, there are some interstate or some international student for professional. For this particular role, it was not required. And some people, junior project manager or not project manager, we eliminate. That's why easy. Now we still left with 75 applications. Now what we did, we used the filter, some kind of scanner, an automatic software, to look into application and find the word PMP. And look, that's why the PMP project profession becoming more and more important. As a project manager, you have experience 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Sure. You're a great project manager, but the system, the scanner will not know whether you are a great project manager. One of the things can make or distinguish you from the project manager or then project manager versus certified project manager by having a 3-letter acronym, PMP. So when the scanners pick, and scanner were able to eliminate around 50% of the project managers or the applications. So down left with around 30, 35 applications. I mean, it's still a lot, and then they use other methods too, because I had PgMP and other certification, and so that's the other thing. But what I want to highlight, having the word PMP or PgMP was enabler for me to get in front of the interviewers.
And when was this? With which year?
I think it was 2014, 15.
Oh,
Not
okay.
not
Okay.
not long ago.
Not so
Not
long
long ago.
ago. And the other thing I believe is if you don't have the PMP and are still qualified and get an interview, you most certainly get the questions. Why don't you have a PMP?
Yeah.
And then depending on your answer, is it a positive answer or a negative answer? It tends to be a negative answer. You don't follow the trend and the lemmings, and you don't like PMI as a US-based organization, or whatever you say. It tends to be negative and blaming others, and that's when you are kicked out. Not because you don't have the PMP, but because are reacting to some standards, to some good things for others. In a negative way.
Yeah.
Maybe you take
So
this into account when you don't have a PMP and nevertheless go for a project manager.
so no doubt certifications are very important, but let's come back to the topic. We have why the excitement in current age or future of the project management. So let me look at some of the trends. Probably you can appreciate that as well. Trend is resource planning is becoming more and more important because we have limited resources, whether manpower or the equipment, devices, supply chain disruption. So resource management is becoming very, very important. That's one of the trend. Knowledge sharing is increasing, and it is very, very important for anybody who's running a project to capture the lesson learned so
Mhm.
that the current team or the future teams can learn from your project and they don't make the same mistake as you made it. So that's
Yeah,
another way of seeing the project management as an enabler.
that's
Okay,
certainly true. Yeah.
exactly. And I see the third trend as agile and hybrid method becoming more and more popular. Many organizations are moving from traditional waterfall to agile or sometimes hybrid environment where they can get the things done faster. And as you correctly mentioned, we cannot apply agile everywhere. We still have to use the waterfall method. That's all. Fourth trend I can see: remote working. People are working in hybrid environment or they're working 100% from home. That's another challenge. Of course, I see that it's a challenge as well as an opportunity for you to enhance your project management, hat or your expertise to make it happen. So that's the fourth trend. The fifth trend I can see change management becoming more and more important. The customers changing their mind very frequently, but are you managing it in a proper way so that you can charge the customer effect properly and your team members are not burned out and you manage a schedule. And sorry, I know I'm taking time. Then the PMO is evolving. It's not traditional just writing, taking notes or organizing meetings or something or just helping you with training. It's becoming more and more effective. They are helping in the strategic discussion, or they
Mhm.
are managing or supporting you in the performance evaluation and of course reporting, and even they start helping us in the legal or benefit relation. So that's why PMO is becoming very, very important part of the project management. The last one, the seventh trend I can see, the project management tools are becoming more and more easier. And I remember when I started using first time as a project manager, I have to use SAP, I have to use a Microsoft project, I have to use Clarity. So all great tools, but they were not easy, not very user friendly. You have to update here, again you update here, then But nowadays the system is becoming so smart. You update something, it's updating most of the places and give you better or smarter intelligence. So that's what I know. These trends are, can if you see this trend and you can improve your skills as a project manager, you can you can perform even better than your counterparts or your colleagues.
Well, yeah. Let me reflect on some of the topics you mentioned. And it's It's how to get the resources to get the job done in your project, and how to find these. And many companies uh, hire people, yeah, but there's also a high attrition, especially in the
Mm,
area of Corona, and then people are moving. And so there's a continuous come and go. And it's very important to not only for the team to function, but also for the whole environment in the company, that there is a kind of consistency in culture. So company culture is important to support this and to lower attrition, that people leave the company. There's a nice saying you hire for skills, but you fire for attitudes, because if you don't fit into the culture somehow, your attitudes will be as such that they are just disturbing others. And I made my own experience with my last customer. We had a team of about 100 staff members, so employees, and then we started with 20 or so external, not hires, but contractors, and so in order to fulfill the request from business to do even more projects, so we uploaded that from 20 to 80 contractors.
mm,
And then the problem started because, now the employees couldn't concentrate on the topic itself, which they were used, and on the relationships, but they had more and more manage these contractors, from selecting them to onboarding them to leading them to helping them to understand the inner workings of the company. And many of these 100 staff members did like that. It was a new skill. It was a skill of a project manager. So they wanted to do their subject matter expert work. They wanted to be still friends with their customers, internal customers, but they had to care about these contractors, and they didn't like it. So
mm.
this created some frictions again, and we countered this, with 80 about, which is a almost one-on-one relationship with internal to external guys working on projects, and we handle this that we hired companies as preferred suppliers, who then brought in these individual contractors. So we didn't have 80 contracts, but maybe we had still 20 contracts, and 15 of them were large contracts with a multitude of suppliers. So it's a point of how to handle your resources, and resources as the measurement of what kind of skills do you need to bring to the road to fulfill your project.
And yeah, you should have a good tool which can help you to understand the resource gap and the type of resource you need, how many you need, when do you need. But if you're still, and I know many of the organization, if you're relying on the Excel-based tool, it's not the very efficient way to manage, especially if you're talking multiple like resources, different type of resources, local resources, foreign resources, or expert resources, or generic resources. You need to manage them and utilize them in the most
Yeah.
effective way.
Yeah.
And that is why you need to invest into the tools which can help you, and the tools which are connected with your project program portfolio management. Not like, I know the main system is the HR system, great HR system, and you have project management system, but they don't talk to each other. You still have a manual entries happening. The project manager tell the HR manager, hey, I need this many resources this time. But if you have a system which is real-time system, which can, the HR system can see, the resource management system can see how many resources are we expecting to use in next 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and we can start hiring, or maybe can be more proactive rather than reactive. So,
Yeah, it's the dream of all managers, but still, it's since thousands of years, that's the task of managers, to bring resources to the tasks and bring them together and balance the
balance
need, and
them.
build your resources, and lower your task, or vice versa. So
Exactly.
that's a balancing task. That's called managing.
Yeah. I mean, one is we do manually, which is, and I've seen this happening, and underutilization or overutilization of the resources. Sometimes people are overburdened and underutilized. But if you have a system, and I can tell you one system which, and I've told many times, we have developed a system called VXDCC, and this is where entire HR management, supply chain management, and training management, and everything happening, which is connected with the project program portfolio. So it's kind of real-time management happening in the same system. So, I can keep talking about this system for a long time because I'm very passionate about it. The kind of things we are talking here, the learning we got from project program portfolio is implemented in this system. So very passionate about this. Yeah.
I know that. Well, what I hear from some agilistas, who always say a human being is not a resource, and a human being cannot be managed. And so there is this view on people on the project, that they should not be regarded as a, let's say, abstract entity and reduced to their skills or hate or weight or whatever language spoken. And I agree to that to a certain aspect. On the other hand, as I said before, you are hiring for skills, but firing for attitudes. I think what is often overlooked, even in such tools, is what kind of attitude do I need, and how do I find out if this guy has it? And give you an example. There is a not AI tool, but a process I use to look at the current team and to look at and what kind of capabilities they have. And let me give you an example. If we have nobody who is a quality assurer, who takes care about the beans, a bean counter, somebody who takes the third look on something before it goes out, and it's often necessary, If you don't have anybody with this attitude on the team, you have a quality problem per se, I can tell you. And so you might want to close that quality problem gap, and find somebody who exactly has this kind of attitude, a bean counter. Well, you could extend it to other key capabilities, and one is risk taker. If you have nobody in the room who is a risk taker, then you will only make the easygoing, safe decisions, and you will probably not be able to solve problems in time and with a creative mode. So there are a set of attitudes, a set of things you have, I have, all people have, and you can look at this personality mode analysis, which I call it, which kind of attitudes do you need and which are needed by the team.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect. Very, very nicely presented. And while we're talking about the resources, one of the responsibility of the project manager is to work with your human resources, the people. And that's where emotional intelligence is another skill as a project manager have to think about. Yes, there are a lot of thoughts when people are talking about it, but you need to understand what your team member going through. And that's where empathy and other things we can talk about as buzzword, what they're going through, and you appreciate or listen to them. Sometimes listening can be, helpful, very, help them. Hey, man, my project manager is kind enough to listen to my pain. And, so I think as a project manager, while you're growing into the project management, learning about project management, think about attitude and the emotional intelligence part. How can be I more a better intelligent, emotional intelligent? How can I think? How, as an emotional intelligent project manager, you can think about your skills, your expertise, your capabilities, and how can I manage or how can I work with various type of people? Because you're working with lots of people, different type of people.
Yeah, I agree. These kind of leadership capabilities, like emotional intelligence, are very important, and empathy is one of the four parts of the emotional intelligence. And you are not empathetic if you notice that your wife wants to go out for dinner, because she might throw some clues at you, so that you appear to be empathetic, but you not really are. So you are always empathetic if other people say you are, and you can't judge yourself because it's an outside view. But you can work on your empathy, and there are some good books I could recommend. But also, empathy is something, as you said it yourself, it's that you focus on listening. So if you Google, let's say, active listening, there are some classes, some ideas how to improve your active listening skills,
Yeah.
and you can practice this very easily. So actually, in my leadership class, I have a module where people exercise active listening, and they have a list of allowed behaviors, like
Mm.
nodding, enforcing, repeating, this kind of stuff. And and I led one of them, a team of three, and they do an exercise observed by others. And one of them is the active listener, and he's not allowed to do anything else than active listening, not
Mm.
allowed to put in any thoughts or ideas or promote something, And that's very hard for some of the eloquent people because they always want to share their view, and that's
Yeah.
not allowed in this exercise,
Exactly.
and the other has to react positively to the questions and so on, and then develop these ideas themselves. And the third one is maybe the most difficult, is the observer who really tells the truth afterwards. You violated the rules of active listening 10 times, a moment here and there, and you the problem thing, you didn't really work with him together and try to make it happen.
Yeah, perfect. Look, so many things as a project manager to learn. And we have talked about some of these things like technology, the advancement in the project management, emotional intelligence, how to work with the team, how to work with the stakeholders. So I know a lot of things to be learned. And you may think about, hey, I can go to a university to do a project management course for 3 years or 2 years course. Or maybe you can do simple things like, PMP or PgMP or PfMP. And I can tell you, you can learn faster and you can apply the knowledge and become better project manager, program manager, and you can, get certified, and the chance of getting hired will be much higher than the simple MBA or doing diploma.
Yeah.
So, as a project manager, keep looking for the trend, what knowledge we have to learn, what skill I should have. And of course, one of the skill is whenever you go and start a project, let's say you're doing a construction, you need to have some background in the construction. If you somebody say, hey, don't worry about the knowledge of construction, you just do a project management. No, you need to have some background knowledge in telecom or in finance or education or whatever you have, whatever field it is. Because when somebody talks to you, you should be able to interpret in a project management terms. I'm not expecting anybody to be expert in that area, but at the same time, you need to have understanding what other person is talking about. So you can work with them, you can appreciate the work, and you can do the risk management as a project manager, identify the potential risk. So it's a great, it's a detailed discussion. We can keep talking about project management, and I know, and you are excited, I'm excited about this. But I like to see the people are getting excited and getting into a project manager. If you're not a project manager, think about, hey, I like to be project manager. What else I have to do to become a better project manager? If you're already project manager, yes, can I do certification? Okay, I'm already a PMP. What else can I do? Think about, okay, I'm running now bigger or better programs. Let me do PgMP. Now I'm in the portfolio management, do the PfMP. I'm not just talking for the sake of having certificate. Learn from these standards, learn from the experts, like people like you, people like me who have been teaching, working with so many industry, professionals. We have gained knowledge, of course, to become better project program manager, but how to teach the better, project program management to other people as well. So, like I'm getting, 100% pass in PfMP and good success in PMP and PtMP. And something similar. You have been doing a lot of great courses and talks and discussion and supporting PMI from various angles. So, I will request the people listening, try to reach out to the people they're available to help you. And sometimes you have to pay for the courses and whatever is. You just sometimes we do provide free training and guidance. That's we do a kind of a part of the role, but we do charge money so that we can give you the best training or the best direction, so you can make your life even better. Any last minute thoughts, Thomas?
Yeah, let me summarize. Enthusiastic about the future of project management, exciting. And we talked about principles, and I mentioned one principle, that the be an explorer, be an early adopter of technology. I think this is something you should think about, and look out what is new, buy new gadgets. The second principle I want to leave with you today is, improve your judgment. And it includes being more empathetic, what we talked about, with emotional intelligence. But it also includes that you act ethically, that you understand what your work ethics are and what your values are, because you make judgments on your values. And the third point I want to leave with you, which is related to that, is how to become more better in judgment. Get a mentor, and the mentor can be free. You can for a specific task, you can go to Dharam and pay for mentorship to do this and that. But get a mentor if in your life, to overcome this period of maybe searching for a role in life.
Yeah.
Get a mentor, and that helps you to develop your judgmental style and capabilities. And buying gadgets you can do by your own.
Yeah. And by the way, mentor can be not me and you, but there are people in your organization. They are great, people person. They like to help others, and they have experience in they're good project manager, program manager. So learn from that. So why not? If they're the free the support available within the organization, within your LinkedIn system, your connection, please reach out to them. And we are here, definitely here, help you and take you if you are looking for PMP certificate or PgMP certificate, PfMP, all any certificate. We'll take you there.
And if you don't ask, you won't hear no. And no, and no is the start of every sales relationship, and getting it done.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Thomas. It was a very interesting topic, eye opener for many people, and your contribution definitely, adding value to a lot of people. So please continue to, help me with building this knowledge bank, which you have been doing all the time.
My pleasure.
And I am going to come to you with more and more topics as and people are watching, listening, and they're commenting. And waiting, can't wait for my next topic with you. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Okay, thank you.
You take care, and guys, take care. Good luck to you.
Yeah, see you next time.